Good morning, people. How are ya? Welcome back to another video. Right, I don't really know how I'm recording, but good afternoon, guys. Hope you all are well. Yeah.
I used to have a job, but I got laid off. I used to have a wife, but she said she had enough. I used to have a car, but it got repossessed. It seemed the Lord had found someone he likes to test.
Today I'm going to talk about motivation. I had a great talk yesterday, and I was talking about self-motivation. So I thought I will, not self-motivation, staying motivated in a lockdown. So I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna bring the conversation onto YouTube and share some of the stuff I found was a huge motivation, or huge indication for motivation in my nation.
Or were you silenced?
Right, so number one, I'm gonna start with this basis. I wrote things down because, you know, I'm grown up now, you know.
I hate it here.
Rules without relationship result in rebellion. I saw it in a movie and I thought, flip, this sounds so good. This is a good place to start because motivation is like this flow. You gotta have somewhere that you decided to go. You have to have that direction that you decided to go. You gotta set some rules for yourself and some goals, and you know, unless you're not even gonna show up for yourself to that place you wanna go to. So, do you have a goal? Because do you have something you're working towards? You know, like that's the first thing. Do you have something that you're working towards? Do you really have something that you really care about? Because if you don't, and if you don't care about the things that you're going towards, then you also don't stick to the rules that you set for yourself. And the problem with a lot of us sometimes is that, yeah, we set a good goal, but we don't actually set a goal that's actually something that we actually want to achieve. It's more like an aspiration, you know. It's kind of like looking into to the stars and like, oh my God, I want to touch a star one day, but like you're not really actually gonna do anything about it. Whereas if it's like a goal, it's like, okay, I want to walk 1,000 miles in a year, and you start walking a mile at a time a day. You have to have some sort of relationship with what you've decided you want to do. And yeah, like there's a lot going on in the world, and there's like we're in this kind of like time. Like I only just realized again yesterday that we're really in a pandemic, right? And I thank God that I'm kind of like not in the forefront of it. But like there's really some crazy things happening, even though we don't see it kind of like immediately in front of us. But like, I mean, within that is there are a lot of young people, there are a lot of people who are literally struggling with just being motivated because, yeah, like athletes, for example, there's no major competitions to work towards. We're just training. Like it's almost seeming like all the causes that, or the reasons and all these different things that people really have as a driver to like interact with their life, like it doesn't seem there. And it's like, okay, cool, how do I now figure out how to keep myself fit just because it's a good thing, rather than working towards something or whatever it might look like in your life. But it's important to really be committed and actually really re-engage with your relationship with whatever you had decided to do previously before the lockdown actually came through. And that's really important. Now, my second point, and I really love this, and it's one of the ways I really continue to think through my life that keeps me going towards a goal, or at least keeps me going towards this self-betterment of myself. And that is, my mentor said this one day at a talk with some young boys, and he just came out and he was like, no one is going to save you, or no one is coming to save you, actually. And I thought, raw, like, you're gonna say this to some 16-year-olds, man. But the reality is, like, no one is coming to save you. Like, the quicker you can realize that, the quicker you can get your life moving. No one is coming to save you. I think that's really big because, you know, you get to a point in life where you just suddenly realize, oh my God, I'm an adult and I'm making a lot of hard decisions more regularly, and like my parents can't do nothing about my decisions no more, like it's mine. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you can be better, the quicker you can take responsibility, the quicker you can assimilate to who you are now and just say, okay, cool, this is where I'm at. This is what we're doing. Let's get on with it, you know? I look at some of the most successful people that I've ever seen in the industry that I work in. So like, you know, the models I've worked with, some of the best, most just really good models I've met are the ones that actually have kids. And they're just such bosses. Like, they're just good with what they do. They're good with arranging and getting those deals. And it's because like they literally have this whole life that depends on them, and it brings out this kind of like different raw passion that is just so beautiful to see. And it's because I guess to myself, I'm not really a dad, but like, you know, like I look at like I have the same approach. A lot of my world is warped around. I really want to have a daughter in the future, right? And I think to myself, I think about his daughter like most days, if not every day. I think who will she meet when she comes into the world? Who will she meet? And like that becomes the basis of a lot of the decisions I make in terms of how I don't succumb into my flesh as much, even though I might argue with myself and all these different things. It all helps me, like I build my world around the idea that if I was to bring life into the world today, like who will that person meet? Like who will her world be defined by? Like that is a huge motivation to me. And the reality is, for some of these ladies, is that like no one is coming to help them. Like some of these ladies are doing this by themselves, like amazing mothers working hard and doing all these things by themselves. I walked like 2 points in there, but like no one's coming to save you. Like that's really important. And these people have realized their relationship with something that is their cause. They've redefined a cause. There's something in front of them that depends on them for life, for direction. And even if they don't have one, they have to find one. So the quicker you realize that, you gotta start searching for what makes you tick. Even though you don't have a reason to tick, you gotta find something that you can relate to, you know, find something that you can take and personalize, you know. I had a great chat with my mentor one time as well, and he kind of like, we were talking about the Bible and actually like the responsibility of men in the world, and actually we look at the way the world is, and there's a lot more responsibility that we men can take, and there is a lot more that we have to do in our own lives to build ourselves, because when we go out, there's so much that we have to change for the betterment of our families, for our women, and there's so much that we have to improve. And why we might take this seemingly lonely route, or you know, this working hard and this internal battle of self-alignment and getting things right, is because like it's like there's a necessity and there's a requirement. Like the Bible calls men watchmen. Like, you know, like you have to turn your back to society for a moment to go and to build yourself in a way that you can protect everybody around you. There's sometimes this loneliness in like becoming something and building something and achieving something. And it's really, really important to realize where you are placed and who you are. And that sometimes will help guide you through this moment of loneliness where some of you might feel like, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of things I'm doing and I'm making all these sacrifices and I don't even know if I really like doing what I'm doing. But like another motivation and another way to keep motivated is the fact that, yo, the world is riding on your decisions right now. And it doesn't seem significant, but like time shows how consequential the inconsequential things are. That's the thing about time, and I that helps me keep remembering that, yo, like the small thing that is too deep to the rest of the world is gonna be one day quite deep for them, and I gotta make sure that at that point I stay afloat, I'm not sinking, you know. So I gotta work on those things now, you know. Like many people tell you, like if you meet me on a daily, but kind of like on a random day, like I'm an intense person, man, you know. And it's because I care about a lot of things early. I want to get things right. I want to do things better so I can live the rest of my life enjoying, but also having a positive impact to the people around me. This is a bunch of rubbish, right? I'm just talking about stuff. But you see, for me, as you can hear me speak, there is huge passion and huge responsibility attached to the things that I've decided I want to do, and they are greater than myself. So how do I even stay motivated? Especially in seasons of seeming obscurity and seeming loss and seeming confusion, is that as much as the world is on pause right now, as much as there's uncertainty, the one thing you can be certain about is that time will not wait for you. That tomorrow will come, and tomorrow will come with its own challenges and its own circumstances, and we have to do something about it. If you don't have a reason in your life, or you're confused, find something that's closest to you and take responsibility over it. Decide in your own life that you're going to be everything to that thing, you know, and serve that thing. I look at my mum working, and the responsibility of me is to make sure that in a few years' time my mum doesn't work again, because she's worked so hard. And you know, when you see your parents work and do things like, you know, for your life, like it's very easy to be complacent with the idea that, you know, they actually want to do that. And it's like, no, like some of our parents have had to just do things they didn't want to have to do. They've had to sell or let go of their dreams so that we can have the opportunities to even dream. And sometimes you get complacent with the idea that because your mom's been doing that or your dad's been doing that for years, they, you know, like that's a comfortable place. How much have you thought about wanting to offload the load that they carry so seamlessly? You know, it's our responsibility. I think, anyways, for me, it's my responsibility to as I get older, offload the weight that my parents have carried for so many years, and start to learn how to carry mine, and start to enter my world where people will depend on me with pride, with responsibility, with accountability. Walk into that knowing and deciding that I will do really well. And I think it's a real motivational factor for me. And I guess if you are one that's kind of like watching this feeling lost to a degree, start to think about those things. What rules do you have in your life that you don't have relationships? Find something to relate to. Stop looking at the rest of the world. Internalize it. Who is somebody around you that needs you? A lot of us, you know, like there's a lot of us want to do this thing. There's a lot of tweets, you know, you've seen a lot of things. Oh, I want to buy my mum a Benz. I want to buy my mum this. It's like you haven't even washed the dishes. Like, you know, start small. So, you know, like if you're struggling to find motivation, or you're struggling to keep motivated, you're looking in the wrong place. Look around you. Who's somebody that needs you where you are? Is there a friend that needs you to step up? Is there something in your life that needs you to be bigger? Those are all the factors that you got to look for when you feel like you're fighting to have a cause. And for the last few months, man, for the last 4 or 5 months, I just graduated. This is my first year out of uni. It's not even a full year. And, you know, being in the first time of my life, consciously, where I don't have any sort of real requirements to be anywhere until, you know, I got a job, blah blah blah. But I came out of university self-employed, and like that was a huge difference. Like that was a huge different thing. Everybody, you know, went to a full-time job. I went straight into building my business, and like it's different. I do a lot of different things. There's so many components to who I am as a personality that like I've been doing so much, but at the same time I feel like I'm doing so little, because it feels like I don't really have one cause. I don't really have a cause. So it's like I'm looking at all my friends who this guy's building this business and it's focused on helping this sort of people. This guy has loads of crypto here. I was listening to all those voices and it was affecting mine. Like it was affecting the fact that there was things I was doing that was impactful, and it's because I was looking in the wrong place, and I had to take time away and look at the people around me and say, cool, maybe that person is motivated by that person's motivated by that. But if I struggle to really find a cause, what is something that really and truly is something that should keep me going, something that I can take responsibility over, something that I can take accountability over. And I looked closer to home, and you know, I look at my dad every day, I look at my mom, and I look at my sister, and man, like there's so much that now I'm in a position to change. There's stresses that they shouldn't even have to strain over anymore that I can immediately change. That keeps me going to make sure that they don't have those stresses again in their life, if I can. As long as they're alive in my life, they shouldn't feel certain stresses again, and that's big to me. So that's where I'm going to leave it. You have to really connect with what you're working on, unless you're not going to stick to a plan. So if you have goals that you set and you know you don't really connect with them, find a way to reconnect with them, redefine them, or let them go. And you know, it's really important in these unique times to remember that, like, if you can't change your circumstances, at least you can change your view of them, you know. So that's really important. And make sure you keep changing your view on many things. You know, a friend tweeted something, I really love it. She says, you know, sometimes, I can't remember how she says it, but you know, like paraphrasing, it's like sometimes all prayer does is help you change your perspective on the problem, you know, something like that. But I think that's really dope to think about, because you know, a lot of the time our problems aren't really our problems, our attitude to our problems are the problem. I wrote about that. Check below. This is so funny. Plug yourself. I wrote about that 2 weeks ago. Check the description. I have a read about that. But that's so important. Sometimes, you know, the reason that we're failing or struggling to keep going is because we're just looking in the wrong way. We gotta relook and realign ourselves and find new reasons, find new causes, relate. So I would say to everybody to kind of round up, you know, if you can't change your environment, you gotta adapt to it. If you don't have a relationship with what you're doing, create a relationship. Look for a reason. Strip back, man. Stop looking at everybody else. Strip back and just really look at the people around you, how they see you, and who you want to be for them. You gotta live, you know, bigger than yourself. And I'll say go smaller as well. Really go smaller. Don't try to focus on buying this person a car. Yeah, of course, if that's what you want to do. Focus on how you can help ease someone's life around you, right there and there, within what you can do. You might not have money, but you have arms, you know. You might not be the richest, but you can make somebody laugh. That laugh will help ease somebody's life, you know. So you can make a difference at any given level. Don't let the world fool you into thinking that you can't. And sometimes a lot of us are not motivated because we think we're failing at the standard that the world set. And it's like, no, my goodness, you have every control of the standards in your life. Decide, go big. And if you're gonna go big, man, you gotta go hard. And if you can't go so big, go smaller and go harder. That's small, and leave yourself trails of excellence. Look, so that you can look back at yourself and say, I did something that I was proud of. I made somebody proud. And make a story of something that keeps you going, a reason, and relate with it. And yeah, man, yeah. And I guess in that talk I had, someone said something really key, and I'm gonna end it, you know, with sometimes these things take just a bit of courage, and that's just important. Just a bit of courage takes you everywhere you need to go, one step at a time, you know, one step at a time, and before you realize it, you'll get there, man. So yeah, see you guys later. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and stay motivated, man. It's important. Yeah, there's not much to say. Love you guys. Guys are forever. Easy.